Hello and welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host de Café con Leche, always inviting you to get social with us online. That's right. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at Bronxnet TV and or like us on Facebook at Open Bronxnet Television. And of course, don't forget to follow moi on Twitter, Instagram, FB, Snapchat, Insta Stories, LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. All right, so as summer quickly approaches, having clear and healthy skin is one of the things that both men and women take into consideration. And for many people, clearing breakouts and treating dry and oily skin can be a challenge. And joining us now to give us some skincare tips, we welcome Schweiger Dermatology Group Physician Assistant Mary Thornton. I hope I said that right.
You
I
did.
said Schweiger. It's almost like a...
You got it. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here and welcome.
Thank you.
To the Bronx.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited you're here, especially, to discuss certain aspects of who we are, right, as human beings, and just certain things that we should be taking into consideration, especially living in the city with the air, the pollution, and skin is definitely at the top of the list, primarily for teenagers, but what about us adults?
Well, adult acne is very common. I actually treat more adults for acne than I do teens. So it is very important that you follow a good skincare regimen. It's interesting, you mentioned about the city, the pollution. I have so many patients who, when they move to the city, they say, I never used to break out, and now I'm breaking out. And so, it just goes to show that your environment does play a role. But it is kind of important to try to figure out what your triggers are, what's causing the acne, and that's where, your dermatologist can come into play. But I do recommend that everybody, kind of get to the root of what's causing the acne. And a lot of times acne starts as basically a little, clogged pore, and you get this little plug in the pore. So something that can help with that is salicylic acid in the form of a cleanser or a serum, and that will help clear out the pore. Other things that...
Is there like a layman's term for salicylic acid?
So it's in a lot of products that are over the counter. That's why I'm kind of starting with that. It's over the counter, so you don't need a prescription for it. And a lot of cleansers like Neutrogena, that contains salicylic acid. So that's a good thing to start with. Sometimes that's not what's going to be what ultimately helps, but that's a good place to start.
Right, depending on the condition, all right?
Exactly,
and
exactly.
So, just out of curiosity, do you find that your eating habits play a role in skin?
So, we're not completely sure, but what I tell patients is that there are some foods like processed sugars and or processed carbohydrates, sugars, dairy, things that are pro-inflammatory can potentially exacerbate acne. So while we're not, while stopping certain foods might not improve your acne, it's worth trying. I encourage patients to keep a food journal and see if they do notice any triggers. It's an easy place to start.
Is it genetic?
Yes, there is a genetic component to acne, so that can definitely play a role as well.
All right, well, back to tips. I just wanted
yeah.
So, well, just because, I know that teenagers go through it during a certain period, and you're mentioning that you're getting a lot of adult patients, right?
Yes.
And so, based on what you just shared with us, the pollution plays a role, eating plays a role. What else would play a role?
Hormones are a huge culprit. So, and that's where you may need to visit a dermatologist if over-the-counter treatments aren't working. Like, for instance, my most common acne patient is a woman in her 30s, and it's usually hormonal in nature. So there is an oral medication called spironolactone, for instance, that is anti-androgen. So it lowers the circulating hormones that are causing the acne. So, sometimes something like that can be really, really helpful. There's retinoids, which turn the skin cells over faster and prevent that debris from, getting trapped in the pore. Also helps with anti-aging. So, a lot of different things that we can throw at the acne depending on what the issue is. And speaking of other causes, stress is also a trigger. Stress increases levels of cortisol in the body, which can lead to higher levels of inflammation in the body and exacerbate acne.
So, okay, so we just went through a whole list, and then there's the weather and the seasons and all these other components that contribute to the skin. So, I believe you have some tips on, I guess, eventually summer will arrive.
Yes.
Well, I would like spring first, however.
Yeah, it's a non-existent season lately.
However, we still have to deal with pollen and all these other
Yeah.
aspects, right? And I know that lends itself to allergies, and I'm just correlating it all.
Yeah. So as the summer season is approaching, it is really, really important that everyone, regardless of your skin color, wears sunscreen. Everyone is, let's put it this way, no one is immune to skin cancer. While skin cancer is more prevalent in Caucasians, any skin type can develop skin cancer. And not only does the sun cause skin cancer, but it leads to premature aging. It causes sunspots, it causes breakdown of collagen, which can, appear as wrinkles and like sagging skin. So sunscreen is so important for anti-aging as well as preventing skin cancer. And another product that I like to recommend before putting your sunscreen on is vitamin C serum, because it's an antioxidant and it's also going to help with that pollution factor that we talked about before.
That's a great tip.
So
vitamin C
serum. You can put that on before you put on your sunscreen. It boosts collagen, it brightens the skin, and it, like I said, it's an antioxidant, so it's going to help with the pollution factor.
That's great. And so the SPF factor, what's the number that one should use daily?
So we recommend 30 or higher. SPF of 30 blocks about 97% of the rays. If you go up to like a 50, it's 98%. So it's not like, SPF 60 is twice as good as 30, or it lasts twice as long. Once you get to 30, that's blocking out 97%, so that's pretty good. But you definitely want to have at least 30.
That's interesting. Okay, so before we go, what's the most important thing you'd like to share with our viewers?
So sunscreen is, in my opinion, the most important thing, because the most important aspect of my job is preventing skin cancer. May is also Skin Cancer Awareness Month, so I would be remiss if I didn't, really stress the importance of that to everyone. A lot of people ask what my favorite sunscreen is. I like physical sunscreens that use zinc and titanium to block the rays. They tend to be less irritating, so that's a really great choice. Let's see, aside from that, the most important takeaways. Oh, another one that I hear a lot is people with oily skin don't moisturize, because they say, like, I already have oil on my skin. People confuse oil with hydration, so it is still important to hydrate your skin. Hyaluronic acid is a great hydrating agent that isn't going to contribute to more oil production, so it's not going to break you out. That's another good thing that people can do.
So you're using all these wonderful terms that I hope my viewers get. So what kind of products would include that hyaluronic acid?
Yeah, so it's actually the ingredient that's in a lot of dermal fillers like Juvederm and Restylane, but now we're seeing it a lot in products over the counter. So you'll see it on products. It's a big marketing thing now, so you'll actually see it listed on on the packaging. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mary Thornton.
Thank you for having me.
Those are wonderful tips.
Thanks.
Yeah, and you guys, for a consultation regarding skin treatment, you can visit schweigerdermatology.com, or you can call 212-283-3000. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about a historical music event that you don't want to miss. Stay right there.